to Coffee at 11 featuring my good friend Neisha Ahern. Neisha, show us your mug there.
Good morning. Thank you for joining.
So Neisha, before we go to Q&A from the floor, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. And I'd like to ask, have you got one tip that you would offer to your nearest and dearest as to how they could cope with COVID-19? Thanks, Neisha.
The biggest tip that I can tell you to do, regardless of whether you're still in work or you're not in work, is this. It's my book of to-do lists, okay? Because when I get overwhelmed, like even when I'm off work at the moment, obviously my brain is still ticking over, even with the kids, you know, I'm homeschooling my daughter now, she's 5, and I put her in an Irish school, which was a great idea at the time until I have to figure out how to do her schooling in Irish. But even at that, I still have a to-do list every day, and I do it the night before. And even if I do one thing or two things off that list, it's still giving myself back the accountability, and it will you, because sometimes even if we're off work, but we still have stuff to get done, you know, having a to-do list and a focus and a routine is what's going to help. It's going to help me anyway. I hope it helps you.
So let's get this show on the road. A very good morning, one and all, to Coffee at 11 with my very special guest, April Drew. April, say hi with your mug, please.
With my Drew Media mug. Hello, Colm. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited.
April Drew, an absolute pleasure knowing you and an absolute pleasure having you on this morning, Coffee at 11. We're going to go to Q&A in just a minute from the floor because there's tons of stuff in there. I'm quite sure there are people busy writing notes and ready to throw up their hand. Before we ask for Q&A from the floor, can you give us one tip? What one thing would you recommend to any of us on the call here that you do on a regular basis to keep your head straight during COVID?
There's a lot of things I do, but my main thing is, and I've kind of only started doing this lately, is I get up really early and I get out walk. When I say really early, I'm talking about 8:30, 9 a.m. now, but I get out for a walk and I spend about an hour and a half on that walk listening to a business podcast. I take 20 minutes to just breathe, listen to nature, and then I spend the last 10 minutes or so just checking in. Maybe I'll give my mother a quick call or a friend. So I kind of, even though I'm going for my walk, I'm getting my exercise and I'm building up those steps, which is brilliant for my mind. And I might challenge myself some days for a quick run. But I also make use of that time. So I listen to a podcast. I am one with nature, as they say, which is really, really good. And then I give someone a quick call and then I'm home for the day then.
It's 11 bells. A very good morning, one and all, with your coffee mugs to Coffee at 11. My very special guest, Leonie Lynch of Juspy. Leonie, show us your mug and say hi.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, this is my very special mug. I have a story about this if you want me to tell it. So my grandmother, who I'm always talking about, is 92 next Tuesday, and she always brought us up with fine china and a white insert, so I can't drink out of a coloured mug in the inside. Tea always has to be extra hot and basically the tea bag left in it the whole time. So we found these about 10 years ago in Brown Thomas. They're about 25 euros each, ridiculous, right? This is my 8th one because I've broken 8 of them, the handles and everything. So every birthday or Christmas I get one from the kids or from Rob, and it's kind of it's a bet now to see how long that they last, you know. So.
I love it, Leonie. Only you would have a story about a mug. And by the way, yeah, it just worked out 8 times 25. That mug is 200 euros worth. So
200 euros.
Pleasure talking to you. We're going to go to Q&A from the floor in just a moment. But before we do, what one tip can you give to us all, your nearest and dearest, get through COVID by doing?
Turn off the news. I live in this bubble where, you know, if I go into the news, if I go into thinking about it too much, I can't get work done because I'm just down in the dumps. Worried about my grandmother, haven't seen my parents, you know, it's just, but if I've turned off the news, we're turning on the radio, as in like Alexa, put on Justin Bieber. You know, this is what I hear all day long. So it's turn off the news. Just give yourself a break.
Very practical one, and one I subscribe to. I stopped watching the news and reading newspapers probably 25 years ago, and my dad was horrified. And he says, but how will you know what's going on? And I said, Dad, you ring me.
Yeah.
It never fails. Folks, a very good morning to you all. It is Easter Thursday, and I'm here with my very special guest and good friend, Evelyn McAleer from the County Tyrone. Evelyn, say hi. Say hi with your mug.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias.
Show us your mug, please.
There we go.
Love and laughter. Love and laughter.
Love and laughter.
Evelyn, before we go to Q&A from the floor, because I'm quite sure there are people dying to get in and ask you a couple of questions, what one tip would you give to anybody, your nearest and dearest, how to get through COVID and come out the far end in great shape, you do whatever?
Well, the tip is to stay present. Take your focus off that word. Take the focus off the word pandemic. Jesus, change the way you see things. That's a big thing. When you change the way you see things, and that's the truth, everything changes in your life. But stay present, because see, in this present moment here that we're all gathered here now, everything's perfect. You're safe, you're well, you have everything that you need, everything is perfect. Try and bring your awareness to staying present, because it's all perfect and you're safe, you're very safe.
It's like, if dare I say it in the nicest possible terms, it's like being in the Church of Evelyn this morning, and it's just beautiful.
This little light of mine. I've always been down. I said to
Here we
a friend
go.
joking yesterday, I said, if somebody comes on and I start singing this little light of mine, that's what I did it.
No, it's come here. It's an absolute joy having you on here this morning.